Welcome to Disrupt and Discuss with your hosts, E and KayCee. A Boucher Ventures production brought to you by Just E TV and My Herba by the Fitness Collective. Now, without any further ado, disrupt and discuss.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Disrupt and Discuss, where we shake up health and wellness conversations. I am E,
And I am KayCee.
and together we are what?
D
D and
and
D.
D.
D. Today we're going to dive into a different conversation. It's springtime, but out here in Cali, it has been raining,
Yeah.
raining.
What did it say? Showers?
Bring flowers, right?
Yeah.
We
But
need
then
it.
it but then again the song by, Tony, It Never Rains in Southern California. That's
I
also a
know.
lie.
I know. That's a
But
and
it sounds nice. I like
right
it.
and R.I.P. to Dwayne Wiggins.
Yeah.
But yeah, that just popped into my mind when you said that song.
And I always
But
think about that when it's raining here.
yep,
I said, okay, I'm Northern Cal. All right.
Northern Cal. When we have the rain, like when we used to go on hikes, you can tell the difference because everything's green. And then the certain areas that didn't have any water now have a little man-made pond or something like that. So you can tell we had a good rain season for California. But when we have a drought, when we don't have enough rain, let me tell you, the mountains where we used to hike, they be all brown. The ground is like cracked. It's just
Yeah.
it's
And you're
horrible.
like, what's living down in there? I don't want to be there at night. I'll say that.
So you can tell when California has a good rain because the mountains, when you look up at the mountains, they're green. You can see the greenery. But when it's a drought season, those mountains are brown as hell.
Dry.
Right? It's like, oh, exactly. So we're gonna have a nice looking spring and summer. So I hope you are enjoying the first days of spring, and we are going to get into a conversation. We thought we would come with some springtime topics, and today we're going to discuss springtime superfoods, Ayurveda, and your pantry reset. So, KayCee, what is it going
Well,
to be?
let's get into it. First of all, what makes a spring superfood?
I don't know. What makes a spring superfood? It's fresh,
Okay,
detoxifying,
you're on a
uh,
roll.
packed with nutrients, and it can help your metabolism. How about that?
Did you read that or did you already know that?
Yes. You know me too well.
Well, yes. What are some of the best seasonal summer foods? And you hit what it encompasses for
Right,
sure.
right.
We're talking leafy greens, spring onions. I just know of onions, the red ones, the white ones, and the yellow ones. But anywho, peas, radishes, rhubarb, asparagus, all
Hmm.
loaded with antioxidants.
I
So
love them all.
and with most of these things, we're using those to season your food anyway. So
Right.
it definitely adds flavor and a lot more to your plate.
Absolutely. The spring onions, the green onions with the green stems and the bulb.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, green onions. And then they have the bigger ones with the bigger bulb and the bigger stalk of green.
Because I'm used to hearing scallions,
Yeah.
shallots. So when it said spring
Spring
onions, I was
onion.
like, what the hell?
It is. That's what exactly. Well,
Okay.
we can't forget foraging either. Wild foraging gems like dandelion green, which is liver support, which I do eat a lot of. I eat the fresh leaves and the dandelion tea. I have the loose tea, so I buy that and I make a concoction with burdock root and dandelion root and make tea. So definitely good for your liver support. Then there's nettle for iron and wild garlic for your immunity. Those are all very good things.
It's funny you bring that up
Hmm.
because years ago, when we first moved out here, there was still a lot of not so much farmland, but farmland. I remember my husband's grandmother was out here and we were passing one street and she goes, "Oh, look at all those dandelion greens." And I'm like, those ain't nothing but weeds.
Yes,
And
that's
she
what they
goes,
look like.
no, 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 those are greens. A few days later, we were passing the same area, and there was a lady that was out there picking the greens with, and I would have thought was just weeds, literally just weeds in this open area. So there was a
Exactly.
lot of stuff that was growing out here that people didn't realize, myself included. And she was literally in a vacant lot
Yep.
pulling dandelion greens out of the
Yep.
cement.
Absolutely. You can find them in your backyard if you got weeds. That's a little yellow flower on it.
Mhm.
The leaves are kind of like thin green leaves, but they have like a rigid cut to them. Those are your dandelion leaves. Now,
Is
I
that where you
wouldn't,
get yours?
no, I,
Oh,
because I would have, but in today's society, I see them all the time when I'm walking, but people walk their dogs. We got stray cats around this Mickey Mickey. So I'm not picking nothing outside out here. Okay.
right,
That's
right,
been
right.
possibly excreted on or something. No, I have to go to the store, but I actually ordered from Amazon some these kind of like they're not buckets, but it's like a composite type boxes. I can't even think of the material, but it's not plastic. I'm going to be gardening pretty soon.
Okay.
Start gardening, creating my own garden, but I was like, I'm not going to dig a hole or get down on the ground on my knees,
Right.
try to dig out. So I found these boxes on Amazon and I'm going to try it that way. I wanted to plant the dandelions, garlic, tomatoes, and things of that nature. So I'm going to try my hand gardening. These are one of the things that I plan on trying this spring. I was supposed to do that 2 years ago, but we digress.
Well, in regards to plant-based eating, it doesn't have to be
Mhm.
bland. You're
Mhm.
not just going to get some carrots and call it a day and then just hope that everything else falls into place. Just by some of the things that you said, it really makes sense. Let me know how that goes. I'm not a
I
green thumb
am.
at all.
I'm not either, but I got to try
So,
my hand at because these are things that I usually buy in excess. Everybody needs some onions, garlic. I like my cilantro. I like my parsley and things of that nature and thyme and stuff like that. So why not try and grow it
so
and see?
parsley is like a palate cleanser, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
As a kid, I didn't either. I didn't understand what the process of that was. And then we would always use the term, just give me the meat and potatoes when you're talking about somebody getting to the main point. And I go, just leave the
Right.
parsley on the plate, just meat and potatoes, parsley on the side.
Put that green stuff on there.
And after a while, it got me thinking, what the hell is it for? For some people that already know, it's like, duh. But yeah, it's a palate cleanser.
And I knew it, but I never utilized it as such. I kind of utilize it as gut health too.
Yeah.
It helps with your gut. So, but yeah, palate cleanser as well, you guys. For the
Mm,
newbies out there, we don't want you to get intimidated by
mm.
earthly flavors. We're going to start off with some colorful dishes that will balance your sweet and savory. This is not for the faint of heart because some people, if this is my husband reading this, he'd be like, "Oh, oh." My husband don't like nothing green that he got to chew.
Oh, God.
Everything, every vegetable and fruit, I have to pulse it, eat, just evaporate it.
You got to hide it like when you're feeding the baby.
Yes,
All
yes.
right.
He's not gonna drink it or eat it. So here's a few savory like spring recipe. You want to start off light, and this is for people who may not be. This is not commonplace for you to try foods that are grown in the springtime that are naturally seasonal to try, and it's a new type of vegetable. Not a lot of people eat it. So like golden turmeric and asparagus rice. I love turmeric. Turmeric. I put turmeric, the seasoning, in everything. In everything.
Have you tried the actual
The root.
the root? Yes.
I use it as a tea. Turmeric and ginger. I grate it up and I make it in a tea. Yes, I love turmeric. Turmeric is so good for anti-inflammatory. It's bright. It's flavorful. Golden turmeric and asparagus rice. Give it a try. I love asparagus. I learned to love asparagus when I was younger. I'd be like, ah, ah, ah. But as I've gotten
Yeah.
older, I like asparagus. I even like pickled asparagus, so I can eat either or. It's actually good. I tasted it at a farmer's market one time years ago.
Once, as a kid, I didn't like asparagus, but then I realized it was the way it was prepared.
Hmm.
We're from that TV dinner canned food generation, and
Right.
nothing but string.
Yes.
It's already coming out of a can like that. Then my mom would boil it. So if
Right.
you didn't kill it once, we're gonna kill it a second time with a clump of butter, and you're supposed to eat it.
And then when you learn, I had to learn to eat it. Like I said, I found out about the pickle at the farmer's market, but I had to learn to eat it when I started doing these competitions for weight loss. We would have meal prep and meal planning to get to certain weight losses at certain stages. If you hadn't met the certain weight loss at a certain stage, like a week or 2 weeks before the end of the competition, then they put you on the F&A. F&A is fish and asparagus. So all you could eat
I'm going somewhere else with
dinner.
that one.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It was fish and asparagus. So you would have to eat fish and asparagus for your breakfast, lunch, and dinner until you met your weight goal. It had to be like cod, halibut, some type of white fish. You'd only put salt, pepper, and lemon on it. You could steam your asparagus. And believe it or not, your urine stunk, but you would drop the weight and drink water. So it's fish and asparagus and water until you got to your goal before the end of the competition. So that's how I ended up having to love asparagus because of that competition. I should have hated it, but it actually tasted pretty good. Yep.
Okay. F&A.
Fish and asparagus.
Okay.
If y'all know, shout out to the F&A for hashtag it in the comments. Radish and mango spring rolls. Now you might say that's a weird combination because
Yes, I'm saying that.
right, radishes are kind of peppery. I love radishes with Mexican food, especially street tacos. But a mango and a spring roll, but I would try it. I would definitely try it. So give this one a try. Mango and radish spring rolls. It's kind of
Yeah.
gonna give you like a sweet and tangy. And then spring pea and fresh herb soup. Now I have tried this one cold, not warm. It's refreshing. It's very green, but it tastes very good if you know how to season it.
Mm.
Okay, what
I have
about
no
this one?
story. I have no stories on that. I have
Oh,
no
none of them. Huh?
stories. You're rendering me speechless.
Speak what?
Yeah.
You know, KayCee, that's hard to do.
Yeah.
She's like, mm-mm. And then we have sweet treats. What about this one? I've also made this one rhubarb and strawberry crumble.
Now that I could get with.
Yes. A
And they
rhubarb and
even
strawberry
have,
pie is good too.
well, they even have now it's not Cool Whip, but it's something similar, but with coconut something. But it's like a vegan version of a Cool Whip that
Oh,
you would put
yeah.
on it. That would
Oh,
be
yeah.
good.
Oh, yeah. That'd be real good. And you can make your own.
Ugh,
That I know what you're
God.
talking about. Cool. She like, I ain't doing nothing.
You making all this? No,
I
no.
know what I love to do it. I'm sorry.
Mm.
How about this one? Blueberry and chia pudding. I actually
Okay.
made this as well. It is good. Chia seeds, believe it or not,
Uh-huh.
you put up
Yeah.
like a tablespoon of chia seeds or two
Yep.
tablespoons of chia seeds. You put a plant milk. I recommend almond or oat, whichever one, or ripple. If you want something a little bit sweeter, ripple is a good one. Um, it is. I love ripple
No
too.
Ripple. I'm just going. I'm old. Okay.
Oh,
I'm just thinking on Sanford and Son. He always would
right.
drink Ripple.
Give me some ripple.
Yeah. And what was it with champagne? Ripple.
Champipple. Okay. Give me that champipple. I call it champagne. Give me that champagne. But
Okay.
blueberries and chia seeds. You put that in there overnight, combine it, put it overnight, and then it will become gelatinous, a pudding texture.
Mhm.
Actually, pretty good if you want to sweeten it a little bit. Some people will be like, the blueberries are not, especially if they're not as sweet as they can be. Add a little maple syrup to it. Or if you're not into maple syrup, you can add a little honey, monk fruit, or a stevia or something like that to sweeten it up. It is
Y-
very good, very refreshing.
But,
And
but
the
no,
blueberries obviously is rich in antioxidants.
right. So one of the other things I wanted to say was, I'm sure you've done it, but out of avocados with cacao powder, you mix it up and it takes on, for most people that don't know, avocados take on the flavor of what you put it
Really?
with. You use cacao powder along with avocados and you're making chocolate pudding.
Yep, you can. And you can also make chocolate brownies too.
Yeah.
with that too.
Yeah, I
Avocado,
was
yes.
you can.
And you can utilize that instead of bananas in your smoothies. You'll never notice it.
Exactly. A lot of people think why, because I even thought, why would I even do that? But it makes things smoother. It makes your smoothie smoother and it keeps you satiated longer when you put that in your smoothie. It won't take over anything you already have in there. If anything, it adds to it, but it's adding it on the underlayer. It keeps you fuller longer, AKA satiated.
Absolutely. And it's a healthy fat.
Right.
Is the health
And it
very
makes your
healthy fat.
skin pretty. That's what
And
grandma
it
would
makes your
say.
skin pretty. There you
Hmm.
So definitely that. Give it a try. And then there is one citrus infused coconut yogurt parfait. I like yogurt, coconut yogurt or
Hmm.
almond based yogurts because I am lactose intolerant. So I don't
We thank
use
you
your
for
typical.
that you have an alternative.
So I don't touch cow's milk for me. If you have, I can't give you any brands, but most stores out here, Safeway, Rayleigh's, Co., they all have some type of plant based option for yogurt. They have coconut yogurts and
We do.
sits in it. I would say tangerine, orange, mandarin oranges. Make a parfait, and you put little granola crumbles. It's good. And it's vibrant, it's zesty, and it's a probiotic. The yogurt is going to offer you that probiotic richness. Just some ideas for you to try for the spring.
So now we can go to what many people think of when you're saying plant based or even vegetarian. Oh, you're going to eat salads all day. But for those that don't really know, you can do some wonderful things with salads. I put so much stuff in there, I got full. Literally
Yes.
got full. We want to think leafy greens, spring fruits, and creamy dressings. For those that don't know, you can make dressings from cashews or tahini. I've used cashews to make cheese. There was a lot of screw ups, trust me. But once I got it down, you can make them just as long as you soak them. That's the main thing right there. You
Soak
do
your
that,
nuts.
then everything is pliable because you're
Yes,
trying to not do it that way. You're going to have some problems.
absolutely. The key with salads is you can blow it by putting the dressings that you put on them. And there's so many healthy options that you can make dressings on your own. Like KayCee was saying with cashew and tahini, there's so many different variations. You can mustard or vinegar base, balsamic vinegar,
Yep.
champagne vinegar. There's so many different variations that you can create on your own. I know people have different types of vinegars in their pantry. You may not have the cashew or the tahini, but super easy to buy, and there's a cornucopia of easy 3 ingredient, 4 ingredient dressings that you can just shake up in minutes, and you have pretty much won the battle if you cut out the dressings that you buy from the store that are cut with so much sugar, salt, all types of additives that they have to put on there for shelf life. You're literally beating the system with making your own dressings. You'll
Yeah.
see a
I'm
difference.
still guilty, though, of buying some just
Oh,
basics off the shelf.
sure. And we need to have a conversation about that too. Just looking at the back of the label, because there are some things out there, far as ingredient wise, that you can buy, but you just have to look at the ingredients. And if you
Right.
can look at the ingredients and understand the first 5 ingredients of it, you've won half the battle on that as well.
Yeah, once you know what to get, then you don't
Right.
have to always read the labels. I bring that up because when I was starting out plant-based and then vegan, now I consider myself vegetarian. I used to think you'd have to read everything all the time, but you have certain spots out of all the stuff in the grocery stores. Now I only go to a few areas and then you just start getting what you normally get. I peek at the label here and there to see what's changed, but after a while I have my go-tos on what I do and stuff and I just go from there.
Absolutely. So hopefully you guys try some of this that we've given you. The next one we're going to talk about is eating to balance your body. And we're going to break that down. There's one called Ayurveda.
Yep.
Right. This teaches you, and we talked about it a little on what was that one that we said?
Food combining?
Food combining.
Yeah.
Thank you. We talked
Mhm.
about it during that segment. And what this is, it teaches that spring is dominated by the Kapha dosha, and which means heaviest moisture and stagnation.
So the foods we eat should be light, warming, and metabolism boosting. I'm gonna think more like ginger, cumin, turmeric, and bitter greens to counteract sluggish energy.
Yep. Like the
Okay.
dandelion
Okay.
root. Those bitter greens are the dandelion root. Yep.
Daisy, you're getting kind of all technical. And I'm like, I'm not real technical. I got to break it down. See, cat, run. See,
Right.
dog, that kind of stuff. It's some of the stuff I don't remember. I got to break it down in its simplest form and then I can build on it. It worked
Absolutely.
for me.
Absolutely. We like to look at it from, some people say, a C student perspective. Keep
That
it simple. So, absolutely. So, perfect Ayurvedic, I guess you would say, Ayurvedic spring meal, like spiced lentil soup with leafy greens, roasted asparagus. Here we go to asparagus again.
I think you just like asparagus.
Do.
Okay. I don't dislike it. I have noticed a pattern here.
Right. It is a spring vegetable that is very common.
No worries.
And then warm ginger tea for digestion. Definitely your go tos. Again, that
Okay.
spicy lentil soup. Oh my God. So good. And
Oh,
out here called the Vegan Shop. I don't know if you've seen it. It's by HD Burger.
oh yes.
She has a good excuse me, a lentil soup. It is really
Oh,
good.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. Well, I guess that means it's time to ditch the winter staples, huh? So
Yes.
your fridge and pantry need a spring reset. That's what I'm getting from all of this. So
Yes.
all that heavy comfort food, is it time to say goodbye?
Time to say goodbye. All the heavy food, the processed food, the dairy, all of that. You got to swap it out for your fresh herbs, your gut friendly fermented vegetables, like fermented foods, I should say. You want to do that like your sauerkrauts. Was it kefir, prebiotic stuff? You want to
Mm-hmm.
get
Mm-hmm.
to that. I do need to. I need to clean out my pantry, period. This is a good time for me to do a spring clean of my pantry and my refrigerator for sure.
Oh wow. And don't forget your spices. That's also part
Yeah.
and parcel with what we're talking about. Like cumin, fennel, turmeric, and mustard seeds. I mean, they give the dishes even like a deep flavor,
Yes.
and it's also boosting your digestion as well.
Yes.
So turmeric for sure.
For
That is
sure.
definitely a spice that I like to use myself.
Oh yeah, I love it. But my two favorite spices that I can pretty much throw into anything is turmeric, and I love a smoky paprika. I don't know what it is about it, but I love the smell of it, and I love it on a lot of my dishes
Yeah,
for
I,
sure.
I I just mainly use it when I make potato salad. I just use it as a
Really?
garnish.
So you just use regular schmegular paprika, right?
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
go make the shit like you know.
No, they
Yes, I sprinkle on my potato salad. Yes,
oh Lord.
that
No,
I
they
mix
have
with mustard. Thank you very much.
I mix it with mustard too. I don't know about you people with this only mayo potato salad, that white stuff, that white potato. No, no. I need some mustard in my stuff. Yes.
Mm.
Check in the comments. Mayo mustard or just mayo in your potato salad. And don't put no raisins. Okay?
What?
Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm not gonna worry about that one. And now we drink.
Exactly. I'm gonna give you a pro tip though. Make your refrigerator visually inviting, or I like to say, give it an aesthetic, right? Your stored prep veggies. This is when you have fun in your Amazon store. You buy clear storage containers and you cut up and clean your veggies, prep them, and your fruits and stuff like that. We do have an Amazon storefront. We do have some of those storage containers in that Amazon storefront. So check it out. But yes, this is when you get all aesthetically pleasing in your refrigerator. You see the IGs and the TikToks where everybody, they make these ASMR where they're cutting up everything and you hear them chopping and they put it in the refrigerator. It looks all pretty, aesthetically pleasing in your refrigerator. So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like,
Okay.
she
My
all that.
refrigerator looks just about as neat as my closet. I mean, there's a lot of people that live here, so we've all got our own way of doing stuff. You get in where you fit in.
Okay.
So let's put it all together, and the stuff that we have talked about, how we build a balanced, complete spring meal.
Yes. Yes. So think seasonal variety, texture, and flavor contrast. So, main dish, you can do some turmeric tofu stir fry with spring onions and wild greens. I know you're probably like tofu, ugh, but you
No,
can season your tofu like the avocado. What KayCee was saying, it can take on many
same
flavors, right?
thing.
Take on many flavors. You can marinate it like meat, and it will take on different flavors. Side dishes, we're talking about mango avocado salad with spicy citrus dressing. Sounds crazy, but you got to taste it. Throw a little onion up in there, you good to go.
Not just any onion, spring onion.
Spring onion or a nice red onion, sliced real thin.
I eat red onions, not
I
all the
love
time,
it.
but
Love it. It is so good. Your drinks, think of refreshing mint in your water or fennel as a detox. Do a fennel detox tea. Cucumber in your water, lemon in your water, things of
that's
that
nice.
nature.
I like that.
Yes.
When you go to a
And
restaurant,
and if you don't like, this is a good time to infuse your water with citrus or strawberries. You can buy an infuser, put that in your water, and then you'll have a flavored water. The rhubarb crumble with the strawberries and some vanilla coconut cream. Easy to make, but like KayCee says, you can go buy it.
but one thing I do make
What do you make?
is sweet potato pie.
Oh yeah, I love me a
So
sweet potato pie.
again, the ingredients that are vegan, you would not know that it was vegan when I make it. My grandkids love it. And it's all about the spices and the flavors and everything. Not disrespecting the rhubarb and
Right.
crumble with vanilla, but sweet potato pie, hands down.
She said sweet potato pie. That's Thanksgiving though.
You just cut a thinner slice. What are you talking about?
She said, but what you talking about? I just eat a smaller
And I'm
slice.
not putting ice cream on. I'm doing like that vegan Cool Whip kind of thing. So it's all light and airy with a little, and you got a little lemon flavor up in there. It ain't bad.
KayCee said, leave me alone. I'm finna have my sweet potato pie.
Gonna be
Oh,
the real hunk, but
right. She's like, I'm not touching it. Okay. We sweet potato pie, y'all.
yeah,
Nice
because
thin slice.
because I'm looking at it like this.
Plant.
Exactly. I mean, that's a full experience, nourishing, tasty, and packed with superfoods kind of meals.
There you go.
I mean, what else is there? And sweet potatoes are very good for you for all kind of reasons. And like I said, I bake them. I don't boil them because we want to make sure you get
Absolutely.
all that natural sweetness.
Right. Right. I agree with that. So we're going to look at what is the best fruits and vegetables to eat in the springtime because, like we said, we're eating seasonally, and this is what people used to do. So the fruits and veggies that you can eat seasonally for the spring are
Very good.
leave me alone. Leave me alone. I cannot keep a straight face with you right now.
Yeah.
Asparagus, high in antioxidants and super liver health, supports liver health. Then we got peas, great source of plant-based protein
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
fiber. Radishes, which are supports your digestion, refreshing and crisp. Spinach, kale, and arugula. I love all
Yeah.
three. Loaded with vitamins, great for detox. Spring onions, mild sweet, great for your digestion, your microbiome, your gut health. Artichokes, these are good too. I like them packed in oil.
Oh, the artichoke hearts.
Yes,
I cut
yes.
those up and put them in salads sometimes.
So good, so good. And that supports your liver function, packed with fiber. And I'm a liver detox, a liver support person because I had liver issues. So these things I definitely recommend. Carrots, refreshing, they're versatile, rich in beta carotene. And then fennel, support your digestion and aids in aromatic depth in your dishes. You want to
Well,
take the fruits?
one of the things that came to mind is this has never happened to me, but I know there have been reports of people that eat an excessive amount of carrots. Sometimes the palms of their hands can turn that slightly orangey color.
Really?
Yeah, I kid you not. I don't know what the magic cutoff is, but when I used to listen to Dr. Dean Adele back in the day,
Yeah.
and he would take various calls, and there was a call that came in, and he had mentioned this something to the effect that if you do eat an exorbitant amount, what does that mean? I don't know. I mean, I don't eat that many, maybe 6 or 8 myself, but that's about it. But if you take an abundance of it, You'll start to see a
Wow.
little discoloration. Yeah.
Wow. The
So I I
carrots is
just
not my jam, but I'll eat them, but they're not my jam. I
I
can
eat
live
them.
without them.
I drink the carrot juice.
It's too sweet.
Mm,
Carrot
okay.
juice is too
Well, I'm
sweet.
going to fruits now. So,
Ooh.
so strawberries, which everybody, I don't know many people that don't like strawberries. I don't know anybody, whether it's in a glass for a daiquiri or in a bowl for just regular fruit, but it's good with it's antioxidant rich and supports your immune health. Blueberries, definitely high in fiber. Early varieties appear in the late of spring. So then we have rhubarb. I don't eat that much, but I am definitely familiar with it. It's a tart superfood and it's great for digestion. Then, of course, as we were talking earlier, citrus, and this can be in all kind of facets. I mean, they don't have pomelos on here, but again, it's just like the damn grapefruit. But you've got lemon and oranges, and like I said, grapefruit, and that's refreshing and cleansing. Some of these fruits, not so much the tart ones, but I just have non-fat yogurt and then I put all my fruit in there. It sweetens it up and I don't have all that extra stuff I don't need in there. So that's one of the
Absolutely.
things we do in our house. The
Absolutely.
older folks, the younger ones are like, "Oh, that sucks." So they don't need it.
Oh my gosh. They'll learn.
Keep living, they'll learn.
Keep living. Exactly. Then we have the wild foraged foods, which we talked about, the dandelion greens. Like I said, definitely recommend it. You can't buy them in every store. I found them more in Whole Foods,
I was going to ask, a whole
Sprouts,
food have it?
Whole Foods, Sprouts, or specialty stores. You can find dandelion in there. They are bitter to taste. You can cook them, boil them, make a tea. You can eat them in a salad. Some people recommend eating it every day. I know women down south, like Casey was saying, her grandmother recognized them immediately. Those are things that they used to eat to keep their gut health. Just pick them and eat them.
Thing is what they call sweet grass, is it?
I don't think it's sweetgrass.
You
No.
know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, I
Okay,
know what you're
okay.
talking about. Dandelions, it's a bitter taste, but it is so good for your liver support.
Now, I know it's not on the list here, but we usually do like the mustards and the collard greens.
Yes.
And I noticed in the stores when I was growing up, kale wasn't an option. It was mustards or collards,
Right.
period. So now they've got those three that I see that are there. And then with the dandelion greens, that would be something you could add with that.
You can definitely cook them with your greens for sure. I would say probably the mustard greens because it would have the same texture. It would be a
Right.
contrast to the collards.
Collards are pretty rough.
They're, yeah, even if you try to cook them down, they still a little bit,
See,
they're
that's why
not
I
like
like to
mustards or
I like to
turnips.
mix I like to mix them because mustard sometimes they're just too it's just
Right.
too I need some
Right.
bite somewhere, and
Yeah, collards for sure.
yeah,
For
I
sure.
grew up with mustards and collards, so you got a happy medium of both.
And see, I never did mustards and collards. I know we going adjacent, y'all. Bear with me. But we would do collards and cabbage. Collards and cabbage. And then for me, my grandmother would always make mustards, turnips, and spinach together. So
Okay.
mustards, turnips, spinach. And then if we wanted some contrast, collards separate. But if you wanted something different, you would do collards and cabbage. If you know, you know. Y'all let us know in the comments.
I don't know. Now I've
Yes.
heard the term turnip greens and all that, and then
Turnip green.
the juice from it, they would, do all kind of things with it. And like I said,
Yep.
my grandmother was
And
from
boil
the
the
South
turnip.
also. But when we would go for Sunday dinner, it was already cooked. A lot of the stuff she left with me, so I know. But when it comes to greens, it was just like those combinations that we did.
Then there's nettles. It's a wild forage food. These are
Hmm.
anti-inflammatory and rich in iron. So if you are anemic, this is good for you as well. Nettles would be good if you have any type of anemia, which will help with your iron buildup.
Was there
You
another name for nettles?
I
I've
don't
never heard that before. That's why I'm asking.
know if they have another name for it, but I do. I get the tea, so I get the
Okay,
leaves.
I've seen the
It's kind
tea.
of like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
bark. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Wild garlic, which is a natural antibiotic, supports immunity. You're probably saying wild garlic looks different. You can find it in some stores, usually a specialty store or a whole food store. You can tell because it has a pinkish or reddish tint to the garlic bulb. different from regular garlic, which is white wild garlic that you can get. And like I said, it's good for your natural antibiotic and it supports immunity.
Okay.
Yeah,
I learned something new today.
that's what we
Nettles.
gotta do. Nettles. Gotta
Right.
look while you talking, I'll look it up.
Okay. Okay. Well, then I'll go on. And then Ayurveda encourages eating light and bitter foods in spring to counteract
Yeah,
Kapha
Kapha.
imbalance, which causes sluggishness. I definitely know when it comes to lunchtime, being very mindful of what I eat because after a while you get sluggish. Now, I don't know whether it's just because of the job I had sitting there all day doing stuff, but I do know seriously because you're looking at the same thing and it's redundant. But then also couple that with you not eating correctly or
Right.
eating those heavy foods. And it's like, yeah, that's, recipe for disaster. And Chinese, traditional Chinese medicine focuses on warming food in the early spring, then shifts to cooling fruits and vegetables later in the season. Then we go to indigenous communities where these are consumed wild forage foods, emphasizing what naturally thrived in their environment.
Right.
So just always keeping what you do in the forefront, if that makes any sense.
Right. They kind of ate with the seasons.
Yes,
And this is just kind of, we're trying to give you like historically what seasonal eating looks like and how certain, communities other than ours, the our Western eating, how they used to eat, and even how we used to eat traditionally. You were on a farm, or my grandmother knew how to grow her own vegetables. She would pick them, clean them, and do things like that. They would go fishing and bring their own catch. It wasn't like going to the grocery store all the time.
right.
It was a lot different. Eating with the seasons definitely helped. And like KayCee just gave us, like Ayurveda, that's Indian. They have their own culture, and then traditionally Chinese medicine and indigenous. And one thing we can say, and I think KayCee will agree, most people in these communities are not obese.
Correct. Correct.
So there's something to it.
I recently went to Japan and
Mhm.
the food there was so incredibly different than the food in the US. One of the things or the products of that was the fact that you didn't see any obese people. Now, everybody, nobody was the same size, of course, but they had a lot more. There's certain ingredients cannot come into Japan that we have in the US. First
Right,
of all, just the way things are made. And they had more exercise in their
right,
daily routine. There were a lot of people, even a lot of older people that rode bikes. I mean, we weren't in a rural area, we were in the main cities, but they rode bikes, they walked. So if someone was large, they weren't like the USA large. So again, and it had a lot to do with the food that was produced and how it's
absolutely.
produced, for sure.
Absolutely. We're going to get KayCee to talk about her trip to Japan. She went to Japan. We do want to hear about that, her travel abroad and the differences.
Yes, enlightening.
Very. It's
And
like, oh, go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, well, I was going to say that I highly recommend, not necessarily international. If you can do that, that's great. But I was always told you need to get out of your circle, your bubble, and
Right.
see how other people, other cultures live. I think without doing a whole public service announcement, but just the way the world is today, it's either my way or no way, and how people look at things and how they think. When you go to other parts of the world and see other things, it really has an
Eye
impact.
opening.
Yes, it hasn't. It's eye opening, but I said for me, it was really impactful because you hear people say, "Well, you're in the U.S., you got to do this a certain way, be this, and speak a certain way." I'll tell you, anybody that can speak more than one language, my hat's
Yes.
off to you.
Yes.
And you can function. I didn't have a problem with it before, but I have a greater respect for anybody that can come into any country and speak not only their native tongue, but the country that they're in.
Yep. I agree.
Because if I didn't have my tour guide, I would have been shit out of luck. I'd still be at the airport trying to get to the hotel.
Right. It should have been a prerequisite in the United States, but I digress. We
Yeah,
gonna get
I definitely will. And of course, we all can expound on our travels.
absolutely. But that is good to know. In the United States, we always talk about white rice, right? White rice being so bad and how it breaks down as sugar in your system, right? But in Japan and China, that's what, like 80% of their meals,
Yep.
and they're still healthier than us.
Yes.
And
Yes.
reason being, they have taken a lot of nutrition out of our rice. The rice over there is packed with nutrition, packed with fiber, packed with protein. It's not being stripped of everything.
Right.
So, difference.
And one of the things that we've spoken before on, and I don't know what actual show it was, but again, you didn't have tons of food, meaning you didn't have food just falling off your plate. For example, we went to Subway one day and there was no foot long. There's that 6 inch. That's it.
Hmm.
Now you might buy a couple of 6 inches while you're there. But again, you're eating for what your body can absorb. You don't need to have all that. We walked some places, took the subway, other places, but you don't eat the same. You definitely do not eat the same. Now I see when people say, yeah, I lost weight when I was there. I think
Or
I
that the
found it
food
when I got
tastes,
back.
or the food tastes different over there than it does here.
It does. And I'll admit, while I was there, I made a conscious effort not to be vegan or vegetarian. I was going
Hmm.
to try Kobe beef.
There,
It was right there.
we gonna talk about it. We gonna hold it. Love this. Love this. So, to be continued.
Dot dot.
Let's talk about the disruptions of modern day. Like we were just talking about really quickly, how things, the history of, just are just the way things seasonally eating and, things the way they are now. So, modern time right now, industrial agriculture and the global trade, foods
Hmm.
now travel across the world, making it out of season foods widely available. Avocados coming from somewhere else, or, our
Yes.
chicken. Even though they're grown, we have chickens here. They coming from way, they being shipped to us. Meats being
Right.
shipped to us, fish being shipped to us when these natural things are available here. It's problem.
The fish that are raised in those
Oh, the
big
farm
vats,
raised.
farm raised, yeah.
No, no. They say that I've seen
And
nasty.
when they say farm raised, what are you thinking? Oh, it must
Yeah.
be.
No, I digress.
I can't. The
I
fact it
have
was a
to.
big vat that they're living in, that would have been sufficient. But thank you for pointing that out, E.
Urbanization, most people live in cities, detached from
Right.
nature and food cycles, right? So, like we were
Correct.
saying, we have no longer on the farm or no longer grandma out there planting all her vegetables and the supermarket and consumer demand stock based on availability and demand rather than seasonally. That's how you see watermelons and melons all year round. There's a problem with that. It wasn't supposed to be like that, but we are there now. So we're out of season.
Well, don't forget the cotton candy grapes you can get at Costco.
Oh my God. The cherry drop. Not cherry. They look like drops, a little drop. I forgot what they call them. But yes, all that stuff. You're like, where did that come from? What is
Perfectly
this?
round. Perfectly round.
Perfectly round. And no grapes have seeds anymore, even in the Whole Food stores and at the farmer's market. If you can find one, y'all let me know because I have not been able to find any grapes with seeds in them.
Every once in a while, the red or black grapes, I can't remember which one, but every
Mhm.
once in a while they'll come across and they'll say seeded. And how I found out, because those were the ones that had the most that were in that section because nobody wanted them.
And see, I'll take them all day long because those are the best ones. They have the seeds. They're non-GMO.
Right.
But processed and preserved foods, like, many rely on frozen or canned, like we were talking about, highly processed, reducing the dependence on fresh seasonal foods. Like most children nowadays, they grow up on fast food,
Man,
McDonald's.
I even have to admit, at my house, I don't do it, but my grandkids get a lot of DoorDash sent to the house. You know, I'm not trying to raise kids. I know my grandparents didn't like the fact that we went to McDonald's all the time growing up, but that was like on a Friday or maybe Saturday. But then
Right.
you had other meals made during the week. But Here, it's like, well, what do you want to eat? And then you order it, and next thing you know, your doorbell's ringing.
We had a show about that too, where it's like three different. You got Chinese, Mexican, Indian, all
Yeah.
DoorDash at the same time. Yeah, it's a problem, and we all admit to we're part of the problem because we do it, knowing we know better. But how do we reclaim it? How do we reclaim our seasonal eating? You can basically shop locally, like your farmers markets.
Hey, let's do this one even better. Plan your meals around what's fresh.
Yeah,
You can, when you're making your meals, set different days aside. You don't have to do a whole week, but you can do a few days, especially if you're doing it with salads and stuff. But yeah, you can, what's fresh,
absolutely,
you plan your meal around that.
absolutely. You detox foods, and some people may say because I have one of these at home. My husband, he does not like fruits and vegetables. So, how do you do that when you have people who don't like fruits and vegetables? You can make smoothies. Make a smoothie, a nice fruit smoothie, throw some greens in there. They'll never know the difference. Never know.
He knows now, but that's okay.
He knows, but he doesn't care because he feels better.
Right.
Grow your herbs at home. This is what I'm about to start doing. I'll let y'all know how this gonna work out. I kill plants, I kill flowers. So hopefully I can grow some fruits and vegetables.
I hope
But
so, especially the root vegetables. Come on now, you can't mess those up.
exactly. If I mess up a potato, oh my
Don't tell anybody. I would prefer you didn't. Oh,
So
geez.
yes, grow your herbs at home. That's another way of doing this, to reclaim yourself, the seasons.
Right. And let's see, there's also the balance kapha dosha
Yeah,
and with seasonal choices, eat light, warming foods to counteract sluggish post-winter energy.
you don't want
Boom.
to be in the spring and summer eating mashed potatoes, gravy, fried steak, beef
Oh,
stew. Those are not conducive to warm weather. You want to lighten it up. Or pastas. It's heavy.
there's but you know what though? Those are considered for Americans, that's comfort food.
Right.
So they're comforting. That's one reason why it's hard for people to break away from it. Not saying they shouldn't, but
Right.
it's comfort food. It really is.
Yeah, it is. But keep that
I
comfort in
mean,
the winter and the
I know. I just wanted to throw that out there. That shit is
fall.
comforting, even though I don't eat it anymore. When you say it, just think pot roast and
Yep.
all the beef stew and all
Yep.
that kind of stuff.
It tastes good, y'all, but it's not for the spring, summer. If you go outside in the heat after you eat some beef stew or a pot roast,
You're,
you are going to feel so awful.
you're gonna want to go to
So,
sleep. Is what you're gonna want to do.
yes. So, change your eating with the season. Hopefully, you enjoyed this talking about springtime superfoods, what caused us to go on this path of, this Western culture and how we now don't eat seasonally, which we should be. Hopefully, we giving you some insight. Hopefully, you enjoyed this conversation. Drop your comments, tag us about what foods you eat during springtime that you recommend for the spring. What is your staples? Also, if this episode has inspired you, share it, tell a friend, like, comment, subscribe, rate us, and let us
But not berate us. Thank you very much.
not right.
Yes.
Let us know in the comments. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this, and we will see you in the next one. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Tiki Barber here. I remember those grueling practices, pushing through fatigue and striving for greatness. Well, that's the same dedication My Herba puts into their supplements. They understand the body's needs. My Herba takes a holistic approach to wellness. Whether it's their sea moss, immune defense, or even sleepy time, they have an option for you. Let My Herba make the best you with code BARBER10 for 10% off at thefitnesscollectif.com.